There's plenty else taking place, of course, in the country. The National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa today is set to picket outside the South African steel mills in Meyerton. That's in the Vaal. It's after more than 160 workers were reportedly unfairly dismissed for participating in a protected strike. The workers embarked on that indefinite strike back in April after the company refused to recognize representatives as full-time shop stewards. Watching those developments is our economics reporter, Katlego, who's at the company in Meyerton and joins us now live. Katlego, fill us in on how these workers are hoping to respond to what's taking place there in a context where some of them may still be without jobs.
A very good morning to you, Ayanda, and to our viewers at home. You're right, these workers having to contend with the reality that they're out of a job, looking at the decision that came out from the employer. Here we're talking about 162 of those workers that are out here in Meyerton outside SA Steel Mills, just demonstrating just under the leadership of COSATU and point of correction there, protesting under the leadership of NUMSA. We know very well that NUMSA, as an affiliate of SABC, has been working to try by all means to represent the workers. This strike action coming at the back of just an agreement, a wage agreement that was met about 2 weeks ago in the steel sector. And one of those agreement, or the conditions around agreement, was to ensure that the employer doesn't come through with retrenchments. But as much as NUMSA is saying here that this doesn't look like retrenchments, but it is pointing to the workers losing their day-to-day wages. Today we see them just gathering out in their numbers here. We have police that are also on standby outside of this facility. We are told here that all workers, Ayanda, have downed tools under NUMSA, and no one is working here just in collaboration, or more or less just looking to unite with some of those workers that have lost their jobs. I'm going to step out of shot to show you what is happening here. These are the men and women from SA Steel Mills here in Meyerton. They're demonstrating here today, Ayanda, just outside the company, a high police presence here. We're talking about just workers that were this all started as a demonstration around the working conditions, demonstrations around the recognition of their leaders here. But we see them accusing the employer of flouting the country's labor laws, accusing the employer of failing to even recognize the court order that is in place here, Ayanda, that speaks to really why these workers had a right to demonstrate, but also why then the employer should actually take their plight into consideration. I'm going to bring Katlego into the conversation with us this morning, who will just give us a sense of why then we find ourselves here. These workers, Katlego is coming through from Citibank, and you are actually leading this march here. Give us a sense of why we find ourselves here. Welcome to the SABC, Katlego.
Okay, good afternoon to the viewers of the SABC. Now, we are here today to picket here, but we must say that the strike started on the 19th of April, and then after the negotiations collapsed between us and the employer, and then among other issues, we were negotiating the full-time shop steward, and also the conditions or improvement of the condition of employment. Now, the employer belongs to the Metal Engineering Industry Bargain Council. There is a minimum rate that has been set. Now, here in this company, they said that they actually designed their own minimum rates, which now they are paying workers 42 rand per hour, while MIBC, we are actually getting workers have been paid 59 rand 10 cent. 1st July, they will be getting 62 rand upwards. So we are talking about the minimum rates. But here we are dealing with the employer who actually does not respect or disregarding the law. He doesn't want to listen to the employees and the trade union. So they are actually designing their own minimum wage. So that's basically that. But also again, there are other issues such as occupational health and safety. There has been fatalities in this company. There has been people who got injured, and then those individuals are not being compensated. Department of Labor came to this company. They conducted an investigation, but however, there's no report from the Department of Labor. So there are a lot of things that are happening inside this company, and this company does not want to comply to any legislation. They don't respect the Labor Relations Act. As we speak, they have dismissed 162 workers for basically coming to a picket line supporting the demands of the union and then the workers. So those individuals have been sent, the employer sent the SMSs, they have dismissed them. So now we are actually saying the employer must reinstate those employees. They must comply fully with the collective agreement that has been signed by the employers' organization and also the trade union under Metal Industry Bargaining Council. And also this employer must comply with the safety standards. And then because the court made it clear that this strike is protected, the only issue here is about the picketing rules. Even the picketing rules, which we conclude, it's a binding document. The employer failed to comply with that picketing rules, which we have signed at the MIBC, DRC. The employer does not provide workers with the toilets and water. So actually, this employer doesn't, in fact, disregard, in fact, the law, and then they are law unto themselves. Yeah.
Kabelo, this is the matter that we saw also just a move from here to the CCMA. It has been entertained as well by the Labour Court. All of these avenues exhausted, and we still find ourselves here. Give us a sense of where are we in terms of those interventions from these organizations. Is there a way that you can go back to the courts to say that, you know, since that court order last week Monday, we still see the employer failing to reinstate these workers? Where are we in terms of your options?
Now, in terms of the dismissals, obviously we'll approach the CCMA or Bargaining Council, DRC, to deal with the dismissals. But here, we believe that the employees are not dismissed, because we requested the employer to provide us with the outcome of the disciplinary hearing. These employees were dismissed in their absentia. They were not given a fair hearing so that they can present their case as to whether they are guilty or not guilty. Unfortunately, the employer conducted the disciplinary hearing. The employee were not there. So we want those outcomes. We want to understand what actually transpired in those disciplinary hearing. So basically we'll approach the CCMA or MIBC, and then even the Labour Court. The Labour Court cannot determine, maybe at a later stage, in terms of the employees who are dismissed for embarking on a strike or an unprotected strike. We can go to the Labour Court. But the company, the Labour Court, have made an announcement or pronounced on the status of this strike. It said the strike is protected. It actually prohibited the employer to dismiss or to subject any individual to embark on this, to embark on a disciplinary hearing. So basically what the employer is doing, it is against the court interdict, that it was not an interim, it was a final order. So basically now the employer, what they have adopted a very destructive approach, because last week, in fact this week, I think on Tuesday, our members were shot here by the security officers who are actually working for this company. The police arrested those individuals, but we were told that those individuals are out on bail. But in terms of the case, the status of the case, those individuals were charged for attempted murder. When they got to the court, and then the court said, no, this is not supposed to be attempted murder. Now there has to be another charges against those individuals. So we are saying that this company does not respect workers. They don't respect the country. I mean, they don't respect it. They are undermining the union. They don't want the union. They have a history, by the way, Alfeco, where they coming from in Ekurhuleni. We have comrades from Ekurhuleni. Very still, they also did the same. Workers are not being paid minimum rates, and this company, it's actually competitors of other companies, big companies like ArcelorMittal and Score Metal, but they are failing to pay workers for, I mean, just a minimum wage. It's not even, we are not actually here to say the employer must improve the benefits. We are just saying, no, the employer must comply with the minimum wage that is set in the industry level. That's basically that.
All right. Just briefly, Kabelo, before we let you go, we're out of time, but give us a sense of the memorandum of demands. You guys were supposed to submit the memorandum of demands today to the employer. The gates are shut. The police are on standby. VIP just deployed here, protection services, and it doesn't look like you're going to be submitting that memorandum of demands. Where to from here? How are you going to push and really give us the terms, the dates? How many days were you giving the employer in the memorandum to respond to some of your grievances?
Okay. Normally, if the employer they don't receive a memorandum, we'll still serve them with the email. We'll send them an email stating all the issues, tabling all our demands. But we were told by the police this morning that the employer is reluctant to meet with us because of safety reasons. By the way, police are here, workers are not violent. This is a peaceful picketing. But we are saying if this employer does not, in fact, respond positive to us, we are going to issue a secondary strike where we'll ask all these companies to support us in making sure that this company complies. Unfortunately, we will not allow any company coming from somewhere and come here to maximize profit at the expense of the workers. They are taking advantage of these workers because of their vulnerability. Yeah, so that's basically that.
Kabelo, thank you very much for your time. Coming through as the regional secretary here from NUMSA in Citybeng. They are here out in their numbers. They've been demonstrating even last week. You heard them talking about the scuffle that broke out here. As you drive in Ayanda, you can see you're met by rubbles of burnt tires that are outside here. But the police are maintaining a high visibility. Private security vans are still just driving into this facility. It doesn't look like that memorandum of demand is going to be submitted today, but you hear them saying they're exploring other avenues. Ayanda, it's back to you in studio for now.
All right, Katlego Legodi, thanks very much indeed. It's certainly a story we'll keep watching as it continues to unfold. Katlego Legodi is live to us there from Meyerton.